Alright, doing body lift today. I'm going to show you the steps. Now I won't be able to show you how to get the bumper off and all that. You can find that in other videos. My FJ is already taken apart, as you can see. Radiator in the back. But behind this panel is your back two body mounts. There's one here too. You go in here and pull off this cap. And down in there is a 17mm socket. So I placed my little mini breaker bar here. And then I'm gonna go under. This will be easy for you to see. Oops, once I get it like that. Because I have my whole bumper and everything off. Get a good view there. Snap this off. Dusty. Okay, I do that two-handed, holding the breaker up here. So when it gets loose, it gets wobbly. So that is the big bolt, and oftentimes if your body lift is tall enough, you definitely need new hardware. So what came down was the washer and, you know, your 17mm socket size nut. And then these guys can shake loose and come down, but I'm gonna actually lift the body a little bit first after I get all these loosened, all the nuts off on this side and then loosened on the other side. And then we can take a 4x4 post, put it across here and lift. Now, don't hold me accountable or responsible if you bend your body or tweak it or do any other such nonsense. Let's go find the other body mount positions. Again, my entire car is taken apart here. Got the kill mat in. It should be right under here. There's another one. And if I'm right, yeah, duh. Yep. There's the bolt there. So then the third, like forward, you guys feel underneath. This plug actually is more like a drain plug. It just goes right under the body. If you ever flood your FJ, which this one pretty much was. Back in here, there is a plug. I think it's this one. There's so many different little plugs here. Yep, that's it right there. So that's, and then, of course, and like I said, it's much easier for me. Down here in the hole, let's come down and look at it. Nice clean view here. It's going to be behind your bumper. And here's the nut and the body mount. And this one is smaller. This is like a 60mm diameter, and these other ones are 80mm. I want to show you on this one. Use a little more strength. Pull this off. Hey, they got an L for left side, driver's side. Maybe for lower. It's got this big beast. Then this is a metal cylinder. Well, where am I? A metal steel tube, sorry. And then there's another rubber piece on top, which you can only get off once you pull the bolt from in here. And there you go. This one had a bunch of dirt in it, or rust. All came out right here. A bunch of debris. Looks like, hard to tell. But anyway, lift the body and you can get that one, this other rubber piece out. Without lifting it, you will not get it out. So going on to the next one, right over here. Actually, excuse me. Look at this bolt. Look at that. It's rusted almost to nothing. Got a feel of it over here. That is so bad. This thing probably was about to break. Being one of the midpoint body mounts. Who knows if they get more force or not. Sorry with the focus. You know how it goes. These camera phones. Interesting thing about the front body mount is that you can get to the head from up here of the bolt, or back in here. There's a nice big hole in the body to get in there. So that also helps with getting the bolt out if you need to reach in. So I'll go for this one. Should be a great success. Can you see it? I lost track of it. There it is. Alright. This beast, Harbor Freight beast, it's kind of hard to wrangle one-handed. It's only single speed. That's the thing I do not like about this tool. Single speed. And then, you know, forwards. But it'll really rock you. And it's not great. If you have rusty bolts, it'll break them right off. Okay, so this, you can't get this one up because it has a special, let's see if we can see it. It has a special, special metal tabs. There you go. Can you see that? I'm gonna get that out. Anywho, in the body there's little tabs to fit on here, so if this is slightly turned this way, it won't come up, so you have to turn it and then it will come up to get in between the gaps. Well, that's that. This one's off. You just pull these right down. Yeah. So, checking out this. These things get really corroded, and over time, this truck has 290k miles on it. So, I don't know the standard amount of squish and stretch for these things when they're new. Although I did get some body mounts that are a lot harder than this for my Tundra before. You know, normally they'd say the other side is the same as the first side, but what's that? What's this? This thing was full of this dirty brown water. So, inside here apparently, as a result of the overall kind of rain flood this thing went through, it had some very nasty water saved up in there. You have this here, oh, there it is, which has a hole here. It's supposed to drain some water out. If you got high enough, of course it would come through here. These are your pressure release, pressure equalization, cabin pressure things. And my exhaust is hanging off from last time I did some bumper work. Whew. A lot of work, even though just 8 bolts. So next step is disconnecting any wires that are clipped on the body to the frame. So back here I don't have anything right now. If we look under here, you want to check to make sure your brake lines have to flex. They should, because you should have drop travel on your suspension. Okay, this is where it gets sketchy, because I'm doing this on my vehicle for off-road use only, of course. I'm not going to tell you what to do, I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing, because the next part is very important. Before you start jacking up your body, you need to make sure that all the electrical connections, the wires have enough slack that they can rise up if they are attached to the frame. A lot of stuff is attached to the frame, but you want to be careful. For example, I just thought of this. You need to check that. Two very important ones. There might be 4. These guys. This one's normally clipped in here, you see? Top connected to the body. The bottom of the ABS sensor connected to the frame here, you know, and down to the wheel. So the hub, those are very, very important because they don't have much slack at all. Look at that. This one's designed to be bolted in right here. Look at that, you got basically no slack. So I've removed those. This engine is in here temporarily while I'm fabricating the mounts and getting the right spacing back and forth, the 4.7 liter 2U ZFE from my Tundra, and another one from the Lexus here. This one has 98k miles, but I've already started hooking in the electrical harness. So this is another thing. Actually, it's a good thing on this. We're kind of bent down here, so we know that we'll be fine if we lift up the body. It'll kind of straighten out. This engine actually needs to tilt upwards. That's why I'm doing this whole body lift. Instead of messing with the drivetrain by scooting the engine back so that it can drop low enough not to interfere with the oil pan, I've chosen to do a body lift and an engine trans lift together, so that I don't have any interference below. And that allows me to keep the engine more forward, which is good for, where is he? The trans, so it can be mounted on its proper crossbar. And why that's important is because you have the transfer case and then the drive shafts going front and back. And my drive shaft would have to get shorter if I had that transfer case back, like say 2-3 inches that it needs. Same for the front propeller shaft, would need to be longer. Which I'm okay with the longer because I have the one from the GX, it's slightly longer. But I don't want to get a new drive shaft for the back. Not yet, at least. So, looking in here, one important thing I forgot, but I'm okay because I already did it. The steering. I unbolted the little cylinder clamp that goes between the steering, because that's obviously hard connection right from the body straight down to the frame, which the steering rack is mounted to. So I'm gonna do some final checks before I lift this and go for it. One thing I forgot to mention was the front brake lines, and those are important. But we have here a twisty loop to allow for some up and down movement. So this is gonna actually stretch out because that is connected to the body, back to the reservoir, or the master cylinder, and it's connected down to the frame, you know, at the hub. So those guys, I'm gonna see how it goes with those stretching up naturally by themselves. Luckily, the other brake lines go back down, they're attached to the body. Where are they? Get you a view right there. You can barely see them. So those will go back, and the drop travel will hopefully account for that. So let's do this. Yoinks. Gently. Let's check. See what we got. This is the easiest one to see. Now, careful if you ever put your fingers in between. But I got barely a crack. Not enough. And when I did this on the GX Lexus, it took quite a few inches to get it to start separating. See, there's a crack there. I can look at that. Right now we're just basically unloading the frame, so the frame is coming up with it, so we're not changing. Oh yeah, I'm lifting this cruiser live. There we go. I think, no, still got some travel. I'm gonna go check it out just in case. I don't think it's started yet. Nope, I can see there, it's not started yet. Let's do it again. Schwanks. Schwanks. I think I see it separating. Let's take a look. No. Maybe. Some of these may be easier to spot than others. I'm gonna look up here. Yeah, okay. So the front is definitely coming out. I should be able to get that sleeve down, and then this will pull out to get a little more room. It has that grommet under here, or part of it that's molded. So be careful. If you're a safety nut, you can use something like this. Poke that bomber out of there. But I'm actually trying to put a lift on top of that, so not as important as when you're changing body mounts. Yeah, let's just say we're changing body mounts. We're not doing a body lift. The other side, the bolts for the body are just loose. They are not. See, now my, yeah, now I'm feeling something. I heard a little crack. Not a crack, but a stretch. Aha. Got some room here. How much room do we have? About an inch. I'm going to 1.5 inches. Yeah, laugh. This is one of my blocks for the body because I haven't ordered my lift yet. I'm just testing it out, right? Wood. So this guy I'm gonna reserve for the, I'll do that one for the mid. Do this one. This is a body mount for the Tundra. Really nice and hard, but supposedly it's supposed to be flexy. And this is one with the sleeve in it, also for the front of the Tundra. I can slip this baby in here. That's about, looks real thick, right? 1.5 inches. That's what you get there. Found a really cheap body lift supplier, which I'll put in the description. You can see that crack over there. Just lift right on up. Now, I should check the other side to make sure those bolts are, that I loosen them enough. You keep them tight. I mean, you keep them, yeah, I got plenty. Check this one. Plenty. Although, it's kind of getting tight. I don't want to knock that one. I might use a frame crossbar. Okay. That one's still okay. It's just a little tight. Let's check our front here. This one, same issue. Might be kind of getting even almost bent. Let me see. Yeah, it moves. And then the front, I believe it's plenty loose. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's got a little more going. So I came to check on this spring-a-dingus to see how much it flexed outward. Okay, so this one has basically a finger width at my fingernail. See what the other side, which should have stretched a little, but not much. Oh, he did. He stretched pretty good right there. But that one still can't poke my finger in, but there, the top section. So I might be redoing these brake lines. We'll see. Hey, why not? Let's do some more lifting. We're almost there. I think it's like a 1/2 inch. Oh, this is, dude, I mean, okay. This is what my cruiser's gonna look like when I'm done with the body lift. Huge for, these are the tires I'm planning on keeping on it until they wear out. I mean, I've got them, they're still good. Off my Tundra. They're 16-inch rims, not 17, which people tell me is much cheaper to get 16-inch tires. I mean, wheels for 16-inch wheels, you can get cheaper tires sets. Cheaper tires for some reason. If you go to 17, tires get more expensive. Go figure. Oh, come on, baby. It's your time. Your time has come. Yeah, he's gotten to kind of a standstill. You check with the other ones. Okay, this one too, can't reach up in there. I will get back to you. I got this thing up, lifted enough, got these temporary spacers in, but it's very important to get longer hardware and put it in and bolt it up before you do the other side, because when you get to get the other side off, you know, you're gonna start tilting like that. What if your body slides or moves? because those weren't bolted in, you're gonna be screwed. It's on blocks, but they're not cinder blocks, they're wood blocks. So need to put the bolts through, and then I can finally test this engine and trans and see if I have the room I need. It's gonna be awesome. But what's gonna cause me to need also is, let me get this way, 2-inch lift block for right under here under the transmission mount. So I gotta lift that up too. All right, got the body lift on this thing. 1.5 inch, just a smidge more, I think. Basically the thickness of a 2x4. And looks fine. I know I need bigger tires. Soon, someday. Gotta get the engine running first. But the engine is in. The engine is in. And it sits like this. So I had to do a body lift in order to, I had to lift the body because where the motor's placed and the transmission, where it sits on the crossbar, my motor was going to be slanted down. And when I tried to jack up the transmission to put kind of a spacer in there so that it wouldn't be slanted down and it wouldn't hit, the oil pan wouldn't hit down below, I hit the floor pan, in between the seats. So, that tunnel. So, lifting the body allowed me to lift the back of the transmission up further and flatten this out while keeping it low. And now, I'm all good in the hood to get this mounted up. Now, one thing I will have to fabricate a spacer for here where the transmission mount is. So the transmission actually moved back 1 inch and up like 1.5 inches, equivalent to the body lift, 1.5 inches or 2. We'll see once I measure it. But ready to rock and roll. Now I did make one mistake, of course. I couldn't get away with it. In all the variations I did, design variations and figuring out where to move the motor back and forth and everything, I had to cut the motor mount bolts off short. So now not enough of that nub is sticking up to get on. So the engine right now is sitting in, but if I were to go over a big bump, the engine would go boom, boom, and come off its mounts. So $290K on the mounts anyways, so I'll buy a new set, and that'll have enough thread to bolt them down securely. Perfect. So next, radiator. Ooh, one thing to note, power steering pump. You know what? Oh no, I remember. The body lifted up now, so certain things, would get stretched. Like for instance, the little brake coils kind of got stretched up. The reservoir goes here, but the body is now 1.5 inch taller. So let's move down here. I have it resting down there right now. I needed to get access in there to the motor mount and so forth. Well, this guy will have to shorten by 2 inches to make that work, or these hoses have to reach up 1.5 inches. Sorry, I keep saying 2 inches, whatever. And this guy here, this hose, return hose, that'll have to get a couple inches longer, give it some slack. So I'll test that out and see. Easy adjustment anyways. Looking good though, looking good. Oh yeah, exhaust. Got plenty of room for the exhaust. I did a test fit before. I'm using GX 470 cats that are welded to in all one piece with the manifolds. Now that the body's higher, actually, My engine looks like it's sitting lower compared to the body, so got lots of room in here. Lots of room. Now, room up here, only got that much. And I gotta fit the fan on and the radiator. I could pop the radiator in right now and see, but this motor had to move forward a little. And so the radiator will fit, but will a fan fit? I might have to go to electric fans. And then it's just an issue of hooking everything up, putting the compressor back on. I had taken that off because, another mistake. I was rinsing out the coolant system, flushing it out, and I accidentally got a little water into the compressor. Hope it's not all rusted out in there. One big thing is going to be this guy, figuring out if I need to swap this with the one from the GX because of these connectors. If I have all the same pins and I can line it up, if I get a schematic wiring diagram, then I can just repin my GX wiring in the harness and plug it in there. Bring over from the FJ harness that connector. We'll see. But I'm very glad this is going in. Things are lining up. Look in here. Take a sneaky peek. Y'all. So this really should be a little lower, but it's like a ½ inch maybe below here, and it should be 1 inch that way. So my stick for 4-wheel drive, I may need to cut this to make it a sharp corner to fit, but we'll see. Either way, the stick is going to be very close to here, so let's see how that comes out. And all this wiring was 4Runner V8 with VVTi, so I have to take all that out. It fit perfectly in there, same as the FJ, all the dimensions. I have to take all that out and replace it with the GX. And the GX does have some extra modules like here and over there, so have to see how I can fit those in and not, risk my knee room. Oh yeah, the body lift. this one stretched and it was okay. Super taut. Probably will break. These ones were already broken, so get something else. Over here is where you really can see it. So actually I have more room now to prep my frame and get the surface rust off. But here's lots of extra space. And then as far as how does it look down here, looks like a 4-inch body left. It's only 1.5 inches. I guess the frame does stick below. I'm gonna, make or buy some step guards, whatever, rock rails. So looks like I could bolt them straight into the frame, which is way better than onto the body, which is what the Lexus has. But those are really just steps or people stepping up. Hey, what if you have a 350-pound grandma stepping on those things connected to your body? Ugh. When you get rusted out in New York, that is a problem. But here in Florida, nearly as much rust, so it's fine. All right, signing out. I'll let you know what happens next.